Hello guys, and welcome to this new video. So today is the round 4 of the Sinquefield Cup, and we will watch the games, two games. So the game between Wesley So and Levon Aronian, and the other game will be between Maxime Vacher-Lagrave and Hikaru Nakamura. So we have two American players, Wesley So and Nakamura, an Armenian, Levon Aronian, and the Frenchman Vacher-Lagrave. So let's start with the first game. So Wesley So d4, Aronian knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4. I believe the name of this opening is the Nimzo Indian, but I'm not too good with the names, so don't take it as the truth. It's really my quick weak point is the opening naming. So what's the idea behind bishop b4 is pretty simple. You are pinning this knight, so white can't play pawn to e4. Just make it just simplification, but it's more or less the main thing. So it's fighting for the center as usual in the opening. So white goes pawn to f3, simply with the idea to go e4. Like, you pinned my knight, but I'm going to use my pawn to protect the e4 square. And black goes c5, so again contending for the center. White goes d5, so now we are getting a more clear position in the center. We can see now that the dark square for white might be a problem, though it has a good control of the center. Castle e4, so he has 3 pawns in the center, pretty much advanced, but he has some maybe weaknesses on the diagonal. At some point the dark squares might be a problem. So pawn to d6, knight ge2, and here black could have played the move b5, which is an interesting sacrifice. Don't want to go too much in the theory, but it might give you a good game. By example, take, and white won a pawn, but you can see it has some problem with the development. And well, this is a chess game, so it's pretty unbalanced. There were a lot of theory, a lot of analysis done by the players, and Aronian decided to go with an interesting move. It's to play a6. So he wants to make the same thing, just he doesn't want to give up a pawn. He wants to play b5, and if you take it, he retake that. So white goes pawn to a4, sorry, stopping black from playing b5, because now if you go b5, it's just pretty much stupid, because a take, and you cannot retake the pawn because of the rook on a8, and now you could not ask this pawn to move away from the center, so it's really a pointless sacrifice. So now b5 is just not available at all, and black goes bishop to a5. The idea is simple, is just to put a piece between the two rooks, that when I play b5 and you play a take, I will be able to retake the pawn on b5 with my pawn, as the rook is not being emprise anymore. So white plays bishop d2. Just want to show that after knight g3, b5, a b5, just to show this variation. Black is even threatening bishop c3, so it means like if you go bishop e2, try to develop your pieces. It's made by bishop c3 check, pawn takes, and rook takes a1. So that's really a problem for white. So he goes bishop d2 immediately. So then no more problems in those lines with bishop takes c3. Pawn takes d5. Here white is taking with the c pawn, is pretty much the only good move. By example, if you take with the knight, it's made by knight takes, pawn takes, and pawn to f5. So somehow it makes, you might feel it would make life easier for you to develop your pieces to exchange this c3 knight as we just done. But the thing is that black then is ready to go f5 quickly and break up your center. This is a very strong move with all those pieces sitting on the first rank. It's hard to castle, and black is already opening the files. So you cannot take with the knight, so he takes with the pawn. Even if it would really be great to just shred the pieces like that to find a good square for the knight, but not possible for the moment. And here, black is going to play a very strong move. Maybe you can find it at home. We won't give the seconds now. Just let you some seconds while I talk to find. So he plays a move that really puts things together. Not putting things together, but he's going to show the weaknesses on those dark squares. So the move is knight to h5. And the thing is that knight to h5 he starts to look at one of those squares, and he helps to bring the queen. The bishop can take advantage of those dark squares. It's too far away, and for the moment the diagonal is closed. But the thing is that the queen can do the same job as it goes in diagonals as well. So with this knight move on h5, is opening the way for the queen, and the knight is also looking toward the dark square. So a very, very strong move here by Levon. Here, if you would play, by example, knight g3, which is not the move that was played. So if you go knight g3, which is logical, I mean, you want to develop your pieces and get away, it would be met by bishop take, pawn take, I mean, bishop could take, and queen h4. And you cannot protect your knight, because if you go king f2 to protect the knight, he goes knight takes g3, pawn takes g3, and oh my god, the rook is just fallen. So in this position, suddenly you don't have a solution to save the knight. And black has a really good advantage here, because he's probably going to win a pawn, and f5 is coming, and the king is in the center. So after knight h5, not easy to defend, and he goes g3, pawn to g3. And in the post-game analysis, Maurice Ashley asked to Geary, I mean Geary played against Carlsen, but he asked him, what do you think about the game of the day, so against Aronian? And Geary said that in the same-ish pawn structure, same-ish like when you have this center, if you have to play the move g3, it means you are really doing bad. He mentioned a game he played against Ivanchuk. And it's really interesting to have those tips by the top grandmaster. I didn't really know that myself, but I kind of believe him, especially when you watch what happened in the game. So he said if you have to bring the pawn like that, it's bad, and somehow it's logical, because now when we play f5, it's just looking even worse. The dark squares are bad, are weak, and now even the light squares are kind of weak in front of the king. So it can be a good news that he played the move g3. Black goes knight d7, developing the pieces. A good square for a knight is on e5. Bishop g2. So white finally tries to at least achieve the development, and black goes pawn to b5 now. So playing really on both wings. It was the idea for a long time. So now at some point we can play pawn to b4, and the knight doesn't really have a square. White here is playing a bad move. He's going to play g4, which is really awful. We'll talk about that later. He could have tried pawn takes b5. So he had two options. Yeah, he could have tried pawn takes b5, pawn takes b5, knight takes b5, bishop takes d2, forcing the king to retake. Rook a1, queen a1, queen b6, and knight ec3. So that's a line I put, and the thing, it's a pretty much forced line. I mean, queen b6 is not forced, but it's a logical move. And the thing is that white is a pawn up, but it has no full bishop, a problem with the king, and the black position seems to be better. Black seems to be better, but white might had better chances to play in this position compared to the game. Even if it's pretty ugly, it was still better than what white achieved. So he could have played this way, so he could have after b5 have taken the pawn and go in this ugly line, or he could have played castle b4 and knight b1. It's looking ugly as well, but at least it's game on, because what is going to happen is pretty crazy. So white goes g4. So just as a feeling, I mean, not even talking about the move itself, I mean, not even talking about variations and what's happening. I mean, playing g3 was already doubtful, but now g3, g4, playing two moves with the g pawn in the opening after 13 moves, when you still have your king on e1, it can't be good. I mean, even if you don't calculate, you know this move is bad and something went really wrong for white. I mean, something went wrong earlier. I mean, it's not g4 especially. It's just the conception was wrong. But here you can just write down that black is better, must be better. He goes b4 to start. So kicking the knight away to b1. If you take the knight, it's met by pawn take, and queen h4 check. So the king, I mean, you play any move on knight g3 or king f1, and then the pawn is coming to f5, and again we break up all your position. So white goes knight b1. Though I think I would have preferred to take, just to take a piece away. I mean, just to exchange something, because when your king is so naked, you want to exchange pieces. Queen h4 check, forcing king f1. This is logical. And here, Aronian plays the most human and the best move, knight e5. I mean, it's simple. When you go to a party, you want to take everybody to it, and so we are bringing the knight. He could have tried a funny computerish line, which is f5, just showing it to you to show you what are the awful things that might happen to the white camp here. Pawn takes f5, knight to e5, so now bringing the knight. Bishop e1, queen f6, pawn takes h5, so winning the piece, and bishop takes f5. And so white is a piece up here, a full piece up even for no pawn. But the thing is that this king is looking so bad and all the pieces are looking so awful that the computer is giving good advantage for black here. I mean, some bishop d3 might happen, some bishop e4 and take the pawn on f3, bringing the rook, maybe c4 at some point and bishop b6 coming back if you go away with the king. The pawn on h5 is falling. I mean, even with the piece down here, black is doing really good as it opens the f5. Though Aronian goes with the simple knight e5. The thing is that now white is going bishop e1. So if you take the knight, let's just have a look first. If you take the knight, black goes f5, bishop e1, queen takes h5. So now we can grab the pawn. Knight g3, queen f7, take, and take. It's taking everything on f5, and black is doing well. He's doing really good. Again, knight g4, knight e3. The hook comes over there. I mean, it's just impossible to defend yourself with it's not impossible. It's hard to defend yourself. It was the best continuation, but black's doing is doing just fine. So so that's after pawn takes. So he didn't take the pawn. He went bishop e1. Not the best move. Queen to f6 now. So the thing with queen to f6, some people suggested queen to e7 instead to keep f5 available. So after pawn takes, pawn f5, pawn f4, pawn takes, and bishop g3. So white is trying with the pawn to f4 to stop black from opening too many files. So he's keeping the files half closed, but after bishop g4 and knight d3 coming, black was having an advantage again. Though he went queen f6, so no queen f6, no queen e7, queen f6. Just some people suggested queen e7. Both moves are good. So pawn takes h5, knight takes f3, bishop f2, and now bishop to g4 coming. So what happened? Knight f3. I mean bishop f2 because you are running too many discovery check, and if you take, I even didn't look at that, but I believe that some bishop h3 might just finish up the good job for black. So you are pretty much forced to place this bishop f2 move, and here the computer suggests a move I dislike myself. I would have played like Aronian, bishop g4. He suggests to go just to grab material, winning the rook, and after king g2, so you might feel white suddenly is bringing his pieces together. He says after f5, knight d2, and queen f6, somehow the attack still didn't end. Black won back material because now it has a rook and 2 pawns for 2 pieces, so it's materially equal, and the king is still in some kind of troubles, and maybe will grab even another pawn. Well, I do understand why black didn't play that, because you see this knight is controlling this pawn structure now, so the pawns are blocked. The king is now somehow safe, by example rook f1, king h1, and we have all those minor pieces around. So it's really not a human being approach to go to take the material. He goes bishop g4. He continues to add the pressure on the king side, straightening now knight d4 with a double pin, so the knight is untakeable on d4. So here white missed a pretty way to defend itself, and in fact it was the last chance to stay in the game. It was knight d2. I mean, that's probably why the computer didn't like the bishop g4 move. So knight d2, just want to say that it's a move that Aronian and So even didn't watch for. They both said they even didn't watch this move, because they thought after knight d4 it's game over, so they didn't calculate further, because this is a pin, the knight is untakeable, and bishop takes e2 or knight e2 is coming. But the thing is that we have two intermediary move. It's e5, so now we are straightening the queen. So if you go queen f5, the only square available on the f file, it's met by knight takes d4, because now we have no time to take, because he takes back the queen. So this is unpinning somehow the knight. So you have to take, you take by example with the pawn, and now white can go knight to e4, asking for the queen to leave this file, queen h6, bishop d4, and pawn d4. So that was a way to try to defend, but I mean f5 e4 is coming anyway. It's already 2 pawns for the piece. It will be a third one, and black has still a very strong initiative with those 3 pawns really walking their way to the other side. So, well, it was just a way to try to play for a bit longer. Went queen c1. It's a logical move. You are going away from the diagonal, and here another amazing move by Levon Aronian. So everybody was thinking that black would play knight e5 to go knight to d3 and well, keep the attack going. Some c4 coming, bishop b6, keep the pressure on. This is a really good move. I mean, knight e5 is a really good move, and everybody thought that he would play that. But he goes with even a better move, is knight d4, and I'm really amazed he could understand that. He forces knight takes d4, he goes pawn takes d4, and the thing is that you exchange the piece, so it might feel you exchange a really good knight that could have landed on e5 against a bad knight on e2. But the thing he understood, and this is really amazing, is that the most important is that now you are bringing the rook on the c file, and even with a tempo. So white's going to play e5, is trying to get some squares for its pieces to move. So this idea with knight d2, knight d4. Black takes, knight to d2, so he's trying to get the squares. Rook to c8, you bring your pieces on the open file. Queen b1. So again, he's trying to seize those two light squares in order to have some room to play. Pawn to b3 now, so attacking the knight and preparing rook to c2, looking at at this bishop and at this king somehow. So knight takes b3. We are not allowing this, but now the knight has moved away. Bishop b6, a logical move, adding up pressure to this bishop again. Pawn to a5, bishop a7, so we're sitting on this long diagonal. King g1, unpinning the bishop. Bishop to f5 now, so we want to enter with the rook on c2. Bishop to e4, and now can you find in 20 seconds for this one, because it's not really direct, how black is finishing the game? 20 seconds from now. Five more seconds. If you like to pause the video, you can pause it. So the move is queen to g5 check, forcing king f1. It's first move. And now queen to f4. And the thing is that if you take the bishop, this is the only move, your bishop is attacked. So the only thing you can do is to take it. d3 is coming, and you cannot defend your bishop on f2. This is going to be checkmate on the next move. So king e1, queen f2, king d1, and queen to e2 checkmate. So a really amazing game by Levon Aronian today. So we are going to jump to our next game, which is Vachier-Lagrave against Nakamura. So Vachier-Lagrave was white. He goes d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4, d6. I guess all of you already noticed we have King's Indian, the favorite of many of the viewers, I guess. Pawn to f3. The same-ish variation, so it was really popular in the 90s, early 2000s, but it lost a bit of popularity because now most of the player plays the line with h3 on the 6 moves. So he went f3, castle, knight g e2. So the thing with the same-ish is that it's the same pawn structure as we had just now. Somehow you will see that c5 d5. Let's go here. It's the same type of pawn structure we had on the last game, and the thing is that we have those problems on the dark squares again for white, but we have the strong center which black will try to destroy with this move f5 again, or some knight h5 might come with the queen coming. It's more or less the same ideas, the pawn to b5. So breaking up the center with all the with the pawns, or even with the pieces sometimes, with everything you can. So pawn to e6. So already trying to attack the strong center. So knight g3, pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn to a6. So preparing for b5, b4 again. Pawn to f4, and pawn to h5. So this is still the theory. So pawn to a4 was done to make sure black is not playing pawn to b5, and pawn to h5 is now to bring this knight on a no-quote situation. So white goes bishop to e2, developing the pieces, still theoretical. Here he goes knight b d7. There is a line with h4. It's theoretical, and white goes knight f1, bringing back the knight either on d2, either on e3. So this knight on f1 it's not such a bad square. So I mean, this is a theory. This is just a game unbalanced. But Nakamura is playing knight b d7, waiting. I mean, white has to castle. No, we don't want to play king f1. We want a castle. Now he plays h4, and the f1 square is not available anymore for the knight. It has to go to h1. A very pretty square. It's one of the best square on the board for a knight. Just joking. Just kidding, of course. The knight is awkward, and it's all about the same-ish. Is that your pieces are in awkward positions as in the previous game. Though it's less awkward because the king at least is safe. But you have this good center, so you have to move your pieces strangely in order to have a good pawn structure. So white goes knight h5. Following the path of a game between Spassky and Polgar. Bishop e3. And here we are not following the Polgar footsteps anymore. Polgar played bishop d4. Bishop takes d4. C takes d4. Queen takes d4. Queen g5. And then rook d1. So that was the game 22 years ago between Spassky and Polgar. It's really unclear. Black has good compensation. I mean, the white pieces are a bit weird. We have this bad bishop. We have this good bishop. We have this knight landing on e5. The pawn coming to f5. Maybe knight f4 threatening the checkmate. It's pretty unclear. But Nakamura played. Probably watched the game between So and Aronian. It's not even probably watched that. And he was inspired by the move f5. So it's a standard breakthrough to attack the center now while the white pieces are still clumsy. You have to react quickly with black. So either you had this pawn sacrifice with bishop d4, even this breakthrough with f5. So white goes f4. If you go here, if you just take the pawn, just to show you, if you simply take, it's made by rook e8, attacking the bishop. If bishop c1, bishop d4 check, so we are giving this diagonal for black, and this is just going to look awful. So we go bishop to f2, and black goes knight f4. This is not looking pretty for white. I mean, all the pieces could land on good squares. This knight now is totally blocked by its own pieces. It looks good for black here, surely. So not a good idea to take this pawn. He went f4. So now we are looking at the knight. Pieces all over the board. Queen e8. A pretty move. I love those moves when with a move you do two things. You bring your queen on an important file, the e file, and you protect your pawn on h5. Here bishop takes h5. Pawn takes h5. And pawn to e5. Very interesting and thematical move. So we give up a pawn. But the thing that happens now is that after pawn takes, which is the game, white is able to push the pawn to d6, so give him another pawn, to get good squares for the knight, the good d5 square. The thing is that the good square for this knight on d7 are e5 and c5, and now they are occupied by pawns, and white is giving pawns to get squares. So we are giving up pawns and we get squares, and the other one is taking the pawns and he loses squares. And anyway, the pawns are really misplaced. So pawn f4. I mean, look at this pawn structure. I mean, especially on the king side. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against 5. But look at those pawns. Not looking too good for black as well. So very, very sharp position. Here, around this position, Nakamura went to the confessional booth, and he said that it doesn't matter what the computer evaluation is now, because the game is going to finish up pretty quickly in those tactical lines. you will see it was not right, but the position is so complicated that one might think the game might finish quickly. If black didn't take the pawn on f4 and he went pawn to e4, it would kind of make sense to keep a good pawn structure, a better pawn structure here. The problem is knight to d5, and it's really annoying. This knight c7 coming is really annoying, and white has too many tempi to bring its pieces back to the game, because you have to play rook b8, and it's a bit too slow here for black. White will take advantage of the timing. So pawn to d5, d6, pawn f4, bishop f4, knight f6, so developing the pieces and contesting the square d5, knight to f2, bringing up this sleeping guy, bishop d7, knight d3, so that's logical. I mean, bringing the knight in, so in 2 moves recycled the knight, pawn to h3, very typical move when you have those double h pawn to give up a pawn to dislocate the pawn structure. White goes knight to e5, so now the knight is on its perfect square. In 3 moves it came to e5 and now is really doing good. Pawn to g2 and rook to e1, so a very big mess up in his position. I mean, it's even hard to tell with words what happens, because even the computer are getting problem to analyze that. I mean, it's very concrete position where one should calculate really good. The strategical concepts for the moment are not really important, because I mean, it's pure calculation, a lot of tactical lines. All the things we can say, like black has the bishop pairs, might be irrelevant because just in a line something happens. I mean, everything is pretty much irrelevant, like 2 pawns up in a side, this king is worse, but white has more activity. I mean, it's such a mess that all those things don't count. It's just pure calculation. Here, the best move was bishop c6, queen b3, king h7, and rook ad1 by example. The thing with this bishop on c6, it's protecting the pawn on g2, and when the pawn is on g2, anything that lands on the diagonal or knight lands on h3 and it's a checkmate immediately. So it's good to keep it there. It's a good piece, and also it protects the f1 square. In some line, white cannot seize the control of the f file anymore. So bishop c6 was a better move, but he went bishop to e6. It's not a bad move either. Queen f3, and here Nakamura is making a mistake, but I mean, how can you call it this way? He was knight e4, knight g4 was a better move. He goes knight e4 in order to stop white from playing knight d5, and Maxim is missing a very beautiful move, which is rook e2, to take the g2 pawn with the rook, and after, by example, knight c3, pawn c3, king h8, and rook g2, suddenly the white pieces come together in perfect harmony. King h1, rook g1 is coming, and this king becomes weak as this one becomes safe, and this is a total switch in the game, as white is taking the advantage here, getting the safe king, and really getting black in much troubles. But he could not realize that, understandably. So many things to watch for. He goes rook d1. Now black takes on e5, and queen g6. So now this opportunity to seize the pawn is gone. After rook e2, and now knight g5, queen takes g2, and pawn to f4. And white has no time to put the pressure on the king, as black is the first one striking with the threat f3. Very interesting, just to say that, I mean, it's hard to say, like, the black king was, the white king seemed weak first if you go bishop c6. Then he goes bishop e6 and knight e4, and it's the black king that might be in trouble. Then he misses the opportunity with rook e2, And it's again the white king that is trouble and the black king that is safe. So I mean, it's all, that's why I say it's pure tactic, it's pure calculation, because on each move everything can just turn around. So queen g6, queen takes g2. I realize he has to thread the queens here, and black is going bishop d7, bringing the bishop on c6, a very good move. So the bishop was a loose piece here on e6, was a problem on an open file, and he brings it to a much better square on c6. So rook to g1, king f7, king f3, rook g8. Yeah, because if you go bishop c6, I believe a move like king f4 must be annoying, I guess. Let me check that out. Yeah, I mean, this is just game on, but I mean, this pawn is in trouble. So black goes rook g8, fighting for the g file. Knight takes e4, pawn takes e4, king takes e4, king e6, bishop f4, because he threats bishop c6, check, king f4, and rook f8, winning the bishop. Bishop backward, bishop takes a4. So black is a pawn up, but the thing is that it's opposite colored bishop, and it's always hard to convert. So rook e1, pawn to h4, take, king f3, king f6, rook e5. So I just want to arrive to a certain position. This endgame is of course interesting, but it's close to a draw, and just want to show you how it happens, the key moments. So bishop c6, king e3, and here, in fact, Nakamura said he miscalculated the line from a few moves before when he played h4. He didn't see that after take, king f3, rook e5, he saw this position, but he thought here he has rook e8, and he's going to apply pressure. The thing is that he saw that after rook takes and bishop takes, black was going to bring those 3 pawns against one, and he could try to make 2 pass pawns, and at least try to apply pressure and win the game. Here, Maxim finds a very pretty way. He plays d7, bishop d7, so he's giving up a pawn. But the reason why is that now he goes bishop d6, pawn c4, and king d4. And the thing is that those pawns are now on light squares, and he's going to be able to stop them from being pushed. So it's a 3 against 1, but the thing is that if all the pawns are on light squares, he cannot push them because he cannot control the dark squares, and the bishop is stopping the 3 pawns, and it's just a total draw. So b5, you will see how it happens. King c3, king e6, bishop c7, king ed5, bishop d8. And the thing is that when you try to push b4, it goes bishop e7, check, and it's impossible for you to play a5. So the 3 pawns are just blocked, and this is a very important concept. Just coming back to this endgame, if you don't go d7, let's say you go, I don't know, you go king d3, he goes king e6, then he goes king d5. Okay, let's go like that. Just try to play a move. Okay, let's just play like that, just to make some moves. He goes bishop b5, king d5, and he tries to push the pawn on the dark squares like that. So I mean, you cannot avoid b5. So b5 is coming, and then he can go b4, a5, a4, trade those pawns. Just playing nonsense move to show you the difference. And then he can go c4 and c3. You cannot stop that. While a pawn is helping on the dark square, it's okay. You can push the pawns. As long if you go b3, it's game over for you, because it goes bishop d2, and you never push the pawns again. But if he goes c4, c3, you cannot stop him. The interesting thing is that also this pawn on h3 has the light square on h1, so it means that if this pawn stays with the bishop, it's winning. If not, white could just play like a move like okay, I don't know. Let's it could, if not this problem, it could go bishop d2, and when you go c3, take, and it's a draw. But here we have those 2 pawns, and this pawn is on the is from the right color, so we are winning that. We are winning that position probably. So it should be calculated because maybe the king can go, but I mean this is the idea behind that. Though here white can probably hide away. So maybe it was always a draw, because in this position, if I remember, let me just analyze this. Just I don't see how we can win this one, by the way. It's pretty interesting, but we cannot win that. While he's just going there in the corner, and you can't win the pawn. So okay, maybe it was a draw. Just realized that when I done the video, but because just I wanted to explain what's the thing. So you need to push the pawns, but maybe still the king has time to go to h2. Okay, but he has no time because you go king e4 first. Okay, so yeah, so it's probably winning when you go c3. If the king is first to come to the corner. So if the white king is first, it's draw. If the black king is first, it's winning because this bishop is saving the day. Pretty interesting thing we just found out while making the video. And so let's go back to the game. And so here where we've been, the thing is that yeah, the pawns can't advance. So it goes b4. Yeah, just shred those pawns, and I mean it's just impossible to push a5. You're never going to push a5. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So that's how the game was drawn. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget that you can put a like. It always makes me happy to see likes or shares. Before ending it, we are just going to have a look at the results. So Grichuk Topalov, Grichuk could maybe have applied some pressure, but he made an early mistake and it was an easy draw for Topalov. Geary, which never lost a game against Carlsen in classical chess, made a draw. He was slightly better, but Magnus defended well. Wesley saw Aronian, we saw the game. Vachilagrav, Nakamura, we saw the game. Caruana could put some pressure on Anand, but he could not win it. I mean, Anand defended well. He's maybe back on form, so Caruana and Anand are still sharing the rock bottom with 1 point out of 4 after 2 losses in the first game. Talking about the top players, we have Topalov and Aronian now sharing the first place with 3 out of 4, and Geary and Carlsen sharing now the 3rd and 4th place with 2.5. So still a lot to happen in the Sinquefield Cup 2015. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow. Bye.